The vision statement that he's talking about on the next page is from 2013. I read it. I think it's a good vision statement. I don't have anything different than that, other than I want to talk about this data-driven aspect, because it doesn't really. This is a vision statement for council, is that correct? But not necessarily economic development and incentives.
That's correct. The council worked with some community partners and stakeholders to develop this. I think it was a work session back then that this vision statement came from and was crafted. And that's where I call it the 5 pillars, the areas of focus, entrepreneurship and the others, yes.
Okay, so just to get discussion started, so I can get you guys talking, it does say in that vision statement to promote its unique downtown, Mr. Johnson. And the next page on policy emphasis says that one of our areas of focus is investment in downtown Lee Summit. So here's your chance to kind of talk about this, and
you talking to me?
Yes, Mr. Councilmember Johnson. I want to hear what you have to say. You've made many comments about this. I want to know. I mean, we're still. I don't know. You got a lot of downtown fans in here, but can you kind of give us why you're? I know you've talked about what 2%. That's your figure.
Yes.
But I want to be able to kind of debate with you a little bit on this.
I'd be glad to pick up on. Thank you for doing that. I actually have 2 others that are more important to me, and that is the blight definition and quality jobs. Good. Which we'll get to that.
Yes, we will. Yep.
But and I was here in 13, and frankly, my view from 2013 hasn't changed through today. I don't quarrel with the concept of a unique downtown, but I will tell you where I will ultimately get when we get to the priority of what I think ought to be the end result of economic development assistance, and that is jobs. So I look at the downtown. I mean, I don't know how many quality jobs are there. By definition, by state definition now. Probably not a lot. And yes, the biggest concern that you kind of referenced was I do think the community is proud of downtown. There's been a lot of public dollars invested in downtown. And if we still have about a $1.6 billion retail sales for Lee Summit, and I think that's what it is, I just look at their CID, which isn't necessarily the same boundary. And I think given those 2 figures together, they generate about 2% of the total retail sales in Lee Summit. So it's like, okay, that's fine. We've done a lot for downtown, but there are other parts of this community that need the same type of attention. As an example, 291 North is, I'm waiting for the next restaurant to go out of business over there and leave a hulk of a building. So that's all. It's just that I know we have a nice downtown. People talk about it. I don't know if it's an economic driver. I don't think it is. Okay. And I'm just thinking there are other parts of the community.
I have another council member that wants to jump in.
Yeah, don't forget, I want to talk about
we're going to get to that. I promise.
Blight
is coming.
Okay,
I promise.
Good. Yes.
Are you going to respond to him? Because I want to.
No.
Oh, I need it. Somebody's got to respond to him.
I do have.
Oh, good. Now we got it going. Here we go. Mr. Benny, Councilmember Benny.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure if you're looking for debate or just discussion, but
discussion.
Okay. And Mr. Johnson is right. We were here in 2013, and we did talk about this policy, and we've updated it several times since. But I think one of the things that might have changed since Bob was downtown last is the quality jobs that are down here, the activity that's been generated, the CID has not only brought public dollars, but it's brought a whole lot of private dollars downtown. Property values continue to rise down here. We've also seen a new wave of professional services, architects, attorneys, others that charge a whole lot for their services and probably pay themselves enough to consider it a quality job. So the amount of retail and sales generated per square foot, if you took the downtown area and what it generates and versus the rest of the square footage around the city, I think you'd find is actually pretty good. So I think we have an investment in our downtown, and I think we continue to make our downtown the jewel that it is. Again, this policy doesn't single it out that it gets any special treatment. It simply says that's one of the areas of focus we're working on. We've worked also very hard to implement things in some of those other areas like 291 North and others where we've done LCRA overlays and other things to prepare those for incentives. Really, there's only so much you can do when you drag a developer to the table. You can't make them come if they don't want to be there. So we continue to make the areas as nice and as valuable as we can, and hopefully that brings the developers that want to do something in those areas. Thank you, sir.
Good stuff. Okay, very good. Ms. Forte, did you want to?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to give you the floor.
I think that
Come back to you. I'm coming
I
back.
think that with what Bob's saying, and I understand where his concern is, but then I don't understand his concern. So, Bob's always been very conflicting to me. And so and I say that in
Keeping
a good
it nice,
way.
keeping it
No, that
nice.
is nice. That's a nice thing. That I'm just conflicted with liking downtown and seeing it as a vibrant part of the city. And I think that's where we kind of get confused on. Some people just don't like to come downtown, and other people love to come downtown. So there's a likability and what it does for the city. I know that I have a lot of friends who live in areas on the other side of the state line who are trying to do what we have here in their city. And so they're starting from where they were, and it's Overland Park. A few years back, we did something, I think an MML, or we did something here, and all of the people, and I can't remember what it was, but I remember when people left, and they were from all over this city, and they went, "We want this. This is what we want." And I just think that Rob has said it so well, but I come from 291 and 150. And when I moved to 291 and 150, there was this great place that people loved to go eat at. It was called Hollywood Cross, I think. Wasn't that what it was?
Yes.
Now, it just kind of outlived itself, and so Hollywood Cross had to go away. And then we started building a lot of restaurants. A restaurant came in. You talk about the restaurants on 291. I understand. We had a couple of restaurants go in at 150 and Market, I think it is. It's where Patio Quigley started. And then whatever happened, it stopped making money and it closed. Then we had another restaurant go in. Didn't work for a very long time. There's a restaurant there now called El Portro. It is like amazing. We drive by it all the time. It's packed. So was it the restaurant? Was it the people? Was it the location? What was it that brought those people there? It was all of those things, and they had good service. And I hate that we've lost restaurants, but I don't think that's something you can blame anyone for, except just the times. And I don't think this body can be punished for those restaurants when we have other restaurants that have gone. And this restaurant that we now have, and I don't know if I'm making a point of. Because everybody knows.
You got to bring it back to the downtown.
Everybody knows I love downtown,
Okay.
but I also know that I love downtown because it's vibrant. You can come down here anytime, and there are people shopping. I saw 2 people get tickets today. As I was downtown, I know not to do that. But I think we have a great attraction to our city that makes us different.
That's good. Let's do 2 more comments on downtown, and then we'll move on to Phyllis's.
I'm not on downtown.
I know. Then we'll move on to
Okay.
whatever you want to talk about. I know. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez, you have the floor.
And I don't want to beat a dead horse or sound redundant to Councilmember Forte and Councilmember Benny. And I certainly am very respectful of Bob's opinion. However, my 2 cents worth about downtown, I think whether in economic development, you just can't look at it as from the sales tax perspective, or the retail tax perspective. There are a lot of other intangibles that exist. And like I said, Councilman Benny was very specific about those, and I agree with those. At the same time, I think as a city, just the place we're sitting in right now, I mean, that's a huge stake in the ground. And we have visitors from all over the metro, probably other parts of the country, that come down because of this facility and the services that are in here. Economic development people, developers. So I think we need to keep preserving what's already begun. I think it's an awesome start, and just have to be broader thinking about how we look at downtown, and we already have the catalyst here, and I think it's awesome that we already started this, but we need to keep it going, and we just can't look at it from a retail sales perspective. This is my opinion.
Absolutely. I'll make a comment too, Bob, so that you can respond to all of it. I would say that it's kind of our claim to fame, and we're pretty proud of it as a city. And so sometimes my philosophical approach is whether you're in business or as this city, sometimes you have to go with your strengths. You should do things that you're good at. In fact, you should do more. If you're good at something, do more of it, and you'll be more successful. So I see the downtown as, we've got the lead on all the downtowns from a competitive angle, and I want to leave no doubt. That's the way I do it. So we always have to be, keeping the downtown in mind from the perspective of we want to stay the best, we want to be the best. We see, I felt that way with the school district. I feel that way with other things. So that's just philosophically. But go ahead, Mr. Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you. Mayor, it's unfortunate you got me into this situation first because it really gets back to what I want to talk about. I think what this council needs to do, not whether it's tonight or next month, we need to decide what is our goal of economic development assistance. For example, is it to raise city revenues?
No, that's the next piece of this conversation.
But I want to defend myself. I had lunch yesterday in downtown.
You've had lunch with me twice in downtown.
I know. So this idea that I ignore downtown is crazy.
No.
I know. I was going to say something else, but I'm not building houses right now. So
I'm not trying to pick on you. I was trying to create conversation.
I want to get to the point of where I'm going to come from is not so much sales tax revenues or what the goal. My goal would be the development of quality jobs. My goal has always been to be able to live and work in this city.
Right.
And the discussion about restaurants is almost humorous. There aren't many jobs there that pay huge amounts of income, at least that are taxable. So it's, I don't mind defending myself at all, but it is, we have to get to the point of what is our primary goal of economic development assistance.